And this question is from Veronica asking about particular areas of law that might be growing in the next 5 to 10 years or beyond. Are there certain areas that you see current students pursuing at a greater rate, or certain areas that you expect to be growing, or particular areas that UC Davis has particular standout programs in?
Yeah, so I think for us as a Northern California law school, and then also being a law school that's adjacent to a state capital and a state legislature that is extremely active and very innovative. I mean, California loves to push the limits on new types of legislation. So given those two things, there's a few different areas that I think really shine for us in terms of a curriculum, and I think also kind of set us up to grow in those areas where I think they are relevant kind of in popping generally across the country. So obviously intellectual property, we're close to Silicon Valley, and so that includes not just thinking about startups and the next Facebook or Google or whatever that might be. There's definitely that aspect of law, helping those innovators protect their ideas, their technology. But the other thing that I think is really growing, and what I find and see our students really getting excited about, is also the part of that goes along with sort of what we think of as more traditional, like transactional law, corporate law. The types of those organizations are funded in really interesting ways, where you need lawyers who are transactional lawyers as much as you need people who are intellectual property lawyers or litigation people who are going to go to court when there's a dispute over who owns that intellectual property. And it's really interesting work, and it kind of bridges what we think of as more traditional transactional work with the type of venture capital. These startup companies are private companies, and how are they funding that when they go public? What are the legal implications of that? So I think that's something where we've started to focus more of particularly our seminars, so our smaller classes that tend to be more specific in their scope of these niche areas. So we've started to kind of incorporate more of that into our intellectual property and our corporate law kind of areas in the curriculum. The other thing that we've really kind of seen grow and have developed a focus is around environmental issues. That's become a really hot topic on a federal level. And California has definitely been one of the states that's been pushing back about changes at that federal level. And so I think being 20 minutes from a state capital, there's really a lot of opportunities to engage in those kinds of policy debates and think about ideas around federalism. And there's lots of things you could be kind of exploring that are really interesting legal concepts. And those are ideas where you can actually translate the classroom into real world things that are happening right now and are really relevant. People really care about that. The other area I would say is immigration law is really strong at Davis, and that's obviously a high profile issue right now. So we have an amazing immigration clinic. We have tons of courses, and where we are geographically, there's a huge immigrant population, so there's a lot of need for services. And again, because California is a state where it has, as a matter of policy, decided to afford a lot of rights to undocumented persons, immigrants, and so I think it's an interesting space, and we have a unique wealth of knowledge in terms of our faculty and what we offer in terms of the curriculum to really kind of embrace what's happening in the world in those areas. And so for students that want to do immigration law, they're loving their time at Davis, and really kind of hitting lots of different aspects of immigration law, and doing really interesting things, in their clinical experience, and then if they're doing externships outside organizations. So really kind of, I think those are a few areas where I see a lot happening, and where I think we're positioned to continue to be, at the forefront in terms of, here's a school that's really tackling these things and really prepping our students to be able to pursue these areas of law after they leave us.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.